Welcome back to Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life, the podcast. You're listening to Authors Corner, where we highlight and showcase our local authors. Today, I am speaking to Otis D. Gore, author of The Audacity of Doubt, Pushing Through Limited Beliefs to Live Your Best Life. And Otis and I are going to be talking today on the topic, Strategies for Battling with Self-Doubt. Welcome, Otis.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
You're very welcome. All right. Yes. Hey, it's a great topic. And of course, I like the title, The Audacity of Doubt. You're borrowing from Barack Obama's The Audacity of Hope.
Well, somebody else had actually mentioned that to me. Keith Boykins, he's a CNN commentator and he's on MSNBC. I did the Harlem Book Fair last weekend and he was there. So when he saw the book, he mentioned that. He said, "Oh, is this a play on Audacity of Hope?" So I was like, well, okay, maybe not. I don't know.
But you weren't aware of it?
No, I was aware of that. But as I was, thinking of what I want to call the book, right, there's a lot of other names with audacity that I realized. There's one, the audacity of you, the audacity believe. I was like, oh, okay. So, but I understand the point because, Barack is the biggest name and but even though I wasn't thinking about that, but I'll take it.
Well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's the first thing I saw.
Yeah.
And it also, it's like the opposite. The audacity of hope, the audacity of doubt is like, it's like the polar opposite. So I think it was great. All right. Well, let me give you guys a brief synopsis. The Audacity of Doubt serves as a compelling narrative that resonates with the author's self-doubt and limited beliefs. It offers stories and practical strategies for overcoming these obstacles by encouraging individuals to manifest a resilient and optimistic outlook on life.
Yes.
His goal is to weave together captivating stories with valuable lessons and hope that the book inspires readers to confront their doubts head on and embrace the audacity to believe in themselves. Yes, claim on that word. It's true, the audacity. What that means is you dare.
Yes.
To hope. You dare to get rid of your doubts. So that's amazing. All right. So as we dive right in, Otis, what are some ways you share in your book for readers to confront their doubts head on?
So when you read the book, I set the book up in a way whereas if whoever's the reader, let's say Myrna is the reader, it's like I'm talking directly to you, like we're having a conversation. So if you look at the first chapter, the first chapter is about time. The second chapter is about begin, because before you start anything, the hardest part is to begin that process. Right. Then the third chapter is about mindset. So now that you're ready to begin, you got to make sure the mindset is correct. And then the next chapter is about fear and growth and value. Then it goes on. So a lot of ways that people can push through the doubt is by using the book after they read it, because it's a quick read. I wanted it that way. It's 540 pages. So that way they can reference the book. So if in fact, let's say someone needs some help with time, say, I got to get my time together. You can read the paragraph on time. You can read that chapter. It tells you everything you need to know. And after every chapter, there are limitless points, because I believe that you have to have a limited mindset. Your mindset got to be limitless. So I call it limitless points because it's pointers after you read the chapter on how you can achieve these things that you're looking to do. So it's like there's limitless points time, limitless points begin, limitless point mindset, and it gives you points. So that's how they can take what they can take from the book is after they read the chapter, and then I'm showing them how they can persevere through.
So, this podcast is all about mindset, transforming your mind, transforming your life, your mindset. And I'm glad that you focused there on, the mindset, because if you're looking at doubt, you've got to overcome the mindset. And I guess we're going to talk about it. My next question is about limiting beliefs. If you're going to doubt yourself, you're going to have a mindset that maybe you can't do it. Maybe you're not good enough. I like the fact that you have time in there, because a lot of times when you doubt yourself, you're going to say, I don't have time. Right. You know what I mean? So this is pretty good. And of course, we're starting off strong, because when you doubt, you're not going to begin. Right? And so when you're saying you got to begin it, usually when you're in it and you're like the hamster picking up speed,
Right.
then it's not that bad. But a lot of times you're not even going to start. You're not even going to begin. So that is pretty good. So let's talk now about some of the limiting beliefs that cause us to doubt ourselves. I can rattle off, you don't think you're good enough, you self-esteem, self-worth. You got more?
Yeah. So I do a training, was because I'm also a speaker. So when I speak, whatever the organization needs, if they want me to talk about people pushing through their beliefs. So I have this training on imposter syndrome. Because a lot of us have imposter syndrome. We may be put in a situation or in a space. You may get a job and they may say, "Hey, Myrna, you're great. We're going to give you a supervisor job." And you're like, "Oh, okay." You always feel like you don't belong in that space and you don't belong at a certain space. There's a lot of people that have that syndrome, but they don't realize that they have it. Like they feel out of place. They feel like, okay, well, what am I doing here? How did I get here? It might be something that they might have done inadvertently in the past that led them there. I was talking to a young gentleman this morning when I was out jogging, and he was telling me that he wanted to do music. So I asked him, "Okay, where are you when you music?" He goes, "Well, I haven't started yet." I said, "Well, then you don't want to do music." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because you haven't started yet."
Yeah.
I said, "What you should do is don't tell nobody. Just start what you want to do.
Yeah.
You should come to me and say, 'Otis, I did a song. I did this.' That tells me that you started something."
Yeah.
He also had the fear of the imposter syndrome because he didn't know whether he was good enough or this. I said, "Well, how do you know unless you begin the process? You don't know."
Yeah.
So he had this thing with listening to other artists and was like, "Oh, look how good they are." They had to start somewhere.
Yes.
That first demo didn't sound like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the whole key is to start the process. So it's the reason why one of the main reasons why I chose this subject is because, I'm a real estate broker. I have a team of agents, and every time that I'm constantly coaching or mentoring, and I always see that the issue is, I want to make $100,000. I want to do this. I want to do that. But what are you putting in place to do it? They don't do it because of the fear, because they don't believe that they can do it. So I always ask them the question. The last speaking gig I had, I asked the question to the audience: can you believe something and know something at the same time? Yes or no? So everybody was like, I said, how many yes? How many no? I said, think about what I'm asking you. Can you believe and know at the same time? What do you think the answer is, Vernon?
Yeah.
You think you could?
Yeah.
So, okay. So here's my theory on that, right?
Okay.
I say no only because you either know that something is so because you have tangible evidence that it is so. So if someone came to Myrna and say, "Myrna, you don't have do you have a podcast?" And you go, "Yeah." "How do you know you got a podcast?" "Because I started a podcast. I have a podcast. I had a YouTube channel." "You sure?" "Yes." So I know that. But if someone came to Otis and said, "Otis, you got a podcast?" "Well, I believe I can do one." So it's just a belief. You have tangible evidence. Someone asked me today, "Otis, have you ever wrote a book?" "I have tangible evidence." Yes.
I've written a book.
I know that I can have it because I've done it.
Yes.
A lot
If
of
you're looking at the mindset,
yeah,
I understand that. Again, I was just listening to my pastor talk about what's the difference about a debate and an argument.
right.
So this is the debate here because you can argue in both sides, right?
Yeah.
And a debate is where both people can argue in the same point. So that is true what you just said. But if you're talking about mindset, if I believe I can do it and I know I can do it, then chances are that I'm going to do it, right? If I believe I can do it and I'm not sure I can do it, maybe I wouldn't start. So yes.
Right. So right. If you believe something is so, then you're going to push for it until it becomes tangible, until it becomes reality. Until then, it's just a belief.
Right. Right.
But when you take it to a point that there's something to prove that you did it, now you know you can do it. Now that's
I see what you're coming from. Right.
Now that's it. Yes. I know
you plan it, you can do it. Right.
Right. You know you can do it. If someone said, "Otis, have you ever sold a house before?" "Yes." Because Yes, I have. But if you got real estate agents that been in business 1-2 years and never sold one property.
Yeah.
But there was some that I know because they're agents.
One fun fact, I'm also a realtor. I don't do a lot of it now, but I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor for 24 years. It's something that I once in a while do full time, but over those 24 years, I've done it like 20 years part time.
Oh,
You know, I work with my circle of influence and whatever, because real estate is a hard job, right? It's a hard job and it's a thankless job because you run around and try to show houses and sell houses and then they don't close. That's why I don't even part time.
Is it only in Florida?
Yes.
So you're still in Florida? Okay. It's a different state. Florida is a deed of trust state. So you can close the deals pretty quickly. And they can get you out of there pretty quickly too.
Right. Right.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know anything about real estate in New York. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's very frugal, because not frugal, is very you make a lot of money because the houses cost a lot of money. So that's great. So
it's competitive. It's definitely competitive. I've been a full-time agent since 2010. So
yes. So 10 years.
It's very competitive.
I started in 2000. Right. Yes. Wow, that's good. Okay. All right. So let's talk about your book, The Audacity of Doubt.
Yes.
What inspired you to write it? I know you said that you're, a broker and you probably get a lot of content from your agents.
No.
So what inspired you to write it?
So, what really, I started writing this book about maybe 2.5 years ago. So, and I didn't tell anybody. All I said was, I started jotting down information because I journal. I have a journal. Mm-hmm. So I started jotting down information about, there's a quote that I always send out quotes to the team. They call it words to live by. Mm-hmm. I find something that grabs me, I send it to the team to motivate them or inspire them. And the thing that dawned on me was, there's a lot of people that come to me for guidance, to help for coaching, to help them put them on the right track. I've always done it, even when I was in high school. I don't know why. Even if I like the girl, she's whipping the friend zone. Okay. I was like, oh, I'm in the friend zone. Oh. So I've always had that thing for, and even when I got a regular job, when I graduated college and I got a job, for some reason, they'd always ask me to go for the supervisor's job or do this. Maybe, I don't know why. Maybe it's the way it carried. I don't know. So I've always been in that realm. And I always said to myself, I need to write a book someday. There's a lot of people that do that. I did the research. There's 88% of people believe that they want to write a book, but less than 5 actually do it.
Yeah.
Because of the process.
My girlfriend the same way. All she says is, I've got to write a book. I don't even know if she's journaling, but yeah, I'm different though. When I said I need to write a book, I wrote mine right away. I've got 3 books, and I'm not a procrastinator.
Yeah, you know what? That's exactly what it is. I call it anything that we want to do is like we always date these things as opposed to marrying. Meaning, we date procrastination. We date. It's not we date adversity. We date these things, right? But we don't marry things like consistency and we don't marry things like dedication. We don't marry things like limitless. We don't marry things that's going to push us forward because we have fear and doubt. Fear is 3 things to me. 1, fear is you could either, it's a false existence appearing real. That's what it is, because the reason why it's false is you don't know what's on the other side. That's why it's scared. 2, you can either forget everything and run away from it. That's fear. Or the last one, you can face everything and rise. Mm. The thing about fear is you got to feel the fear, but you got to do it anyway. And the way that you do that is by building up courage. Mm-hmm. You got to build up enough courage to help you push forward in spite of fear. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of people that are scared because they don't know what's behind door number 2, number 3, number 4. They don't know. But that's the point. That should push you towards it.
Yes. Right. You can't really go to any success if you don't push through your fear. Because if you keep being cautious, then you're never going to get to that top level. Maybe you'll always be at the bottom where you could be mediocre, but you're never going to get to the top level of this unless you're up here.
You are absolutely correct. You just made me think about this quote when you said if people are cautious. There's a quote that I read when I was in high school, and I was like, okay, I like that. Even though I was like 17, 16, 17, but I read this quote that said, I'd rather die leaping in fear than to constantly stand on the edge and wonder what could have been.
Wow. I've never heard that one. That's beautiful.
Yeah. And when I actually, I know since I was like 16, 17, and I heard that I was like, teacher, Mr. Ross. I was like,
you know what? There's so many people that would not jump.
Yeah. You gotta leap in fear. You gotta leap.
Yeah. It's a lot.
When I left my corporate job and became a realtor full time, you know, I had to put on a face like everything was okay. Yeah. But when I was behind closed doors, I was like, oh God, what did I do?
Yes. And you're right. One of the biggest things to do is that to drop security, a regular paycheck, and branch off on your own. I think it's the biggest fear that people have because they got to eat. It's not that kind of fear that doesn't have consequences. You know, you got to eat, you got to pay the rent.
Yeah.
And
that's why the lion is king of the jungle, because he's always hungry.
What was that?
That's why the lion is king of the jungle, because he's always hungry.
Always hungry. Yes, it's got.
I mean, when a human is hungry, what do? We go find food.
Hey.
Right? If we don't find food,
hey,
we can't satisfy that hunger.
You're talking good stuff too, because one of the things that I say, you know, and I actually practice in my personal life is that you got to get out of your comfort zone. No growth happens in your comfort zone. So what you're talking about there is if your belly is full, then you're not gonna do anything because and Les Brown that made that.
I love Les Brown.
You got to be hungry.
Gotta be hungry, yeah. But Les Brown says something that he said that his high school teacher, because all his life, because everything is mental, right? Everything is from the neck up. Mm-hmm. And when the people constantly tell you things about yourself, either way, good or bad, you tend to believe your own hype. Right. So if people say murder is great, murder is blah blah blah, murder is the minute she's the girl, she does everything right. Murder is gonna be like, I guess that's gonna make you a little complacent. Mm-hmm. But then when people say, "Oh, Myrna, she can't do it," please, Myrna, she's not the. Les Brown said that every time when he's growing up, they called her mentally retarded. That he had a learning disorder.
Right.
And he said his high school teacher said, "Don't ever say that again. Never let anybody else's opinion of you define your reality." When I heard Les Brown say that, I was like, "Oh,
yeah." You
know,
talks about it all the time. They list him as one of the top 5 storytellers. I think he's like number 2. He knows how to tell that story. He tells it often and all the time.
Yeah, I listen to Les. Is great, you know, and there's a lot of different speakers now that have their own style because you got to find your voice. You know, like you have E.T., which is Eric Thomas, but he's more like militant, like in the face. Like he make you go, that's already.
But yeah, you said you're a speaker too, so yeah, you always see those.
Yeah.
So that's great. So, what impact do you hope the Audacity of Doubt will have on readers, especially those struggling with self-belief?
Right. So for some reason, right, as I'm going around with the book and, you know, I'm at book fairs and selling the book, there's a lot of people that buy the book and they say, I want to give it to my son or I want to give it to my daughter, high school kid, college kid, because they're very impressionable at that moment.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know exactly what they want to do. They have an idea. They have a curriculum. They go to college. They have a major, but they don't know if they really want to do the major. So the Audacity of Doubt, it helps them because I hope that what they can get out of the book is the fact that if you find something that you truly believe that you want to shoot for, no hesitation, then all you could do is push towards that. Because there's 3 things that people do every day or they think about, which they don't realize. You either are intrigued by something, or you believe you could do something, or you truly believe you could do it. It's a difference. So when you're intrigued, there's a lot of things. And we show when you go out your house in Florida, you see something, oh, that's cool, that's nice. But it's not moving you to actually push for it. Then you see something that you're like, this is interesting. I believe I could do that. Then you might take a couple of steps. As soon as the adversity hits, what do? I'm start thinking about something else. It was okay. I think I'm going, like real estate. I think I'll do it part-time. Right? But then you have that thing that you find that wakes you up every day that gets you going, that makes you go, I can't wait to get up and get into my world. That's
passion.
That thing that you find
in your belly, right?
No matter what's going to happen, you're going to put your blinders on like the horses do. That's why they have them in the race so they don't get distracted. No matter what people tell you, you're going to fall down. Like Les Brown said, you fall down, you see the ceiling, get back up. No matter what's going to happen, if that thing's pulling you, that's what it's going to be. So when I talk about pushing through limited beliefs on the book, I'm talking about whatever it is that you truly believe that you want, you got to push until that thing starts to pull you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what I hope that people get out of the book. Whereas once they read it through, then if they have issues with fear or value or what have you, they can just go back to the chapter and use it as a reference.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah. That's what a book is. You know, they say that you shouldn't read a book, you should study it. So
Eric Thomas says that don't read books, just read the summary of the book.
Oh, really? That's what he said?
He said, read the summary. You know everything about the book. I'm like, I get it. You know, that's why I didn't want to have like a book like 200-300 pages because most people these days, they listen to audiobooks.
Right.
But then on top of that, but you see a book, unless you're a reader, like I have 2 daughters and they're readers, they like to read, like they read novels. That's fine. So if I had something that's a quick read, okay, quick read, I can get the information because we live in a microwave society, unfortunately.
And
you get the information, you get what we need out of the book. Oh, cool. Now I can go back. Oh, what did he say about this? Like that. You know, that's what I want to get. I want people to get the information, read it, reference it, and then implement the information.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so that's great when when people make a guide or something like that, they normally would say, you go back and go back to references. So that's awesome. All right. So how can listeners pick up a copy of your book? We know it's on Amazon. Do you have a website? What is your social media handles?
Yes, I do have a website. It's called otisdgoreauthor.com. So OTISDGORE author, AUTHOR.com. And you can get the book from the website, obviously Amazon, all platforms, Barnes and Noble and all that, but Amazon is the main one because that's what most people think about.
Right.
Also, anytime you can get it direct from me if you're in town or when I go to your town or, obviously buying direct is better, but however, if you want to get the book, it's available on Amazon right now. And the website, OtisDGoreauthor.com.
Perfect. And your social media?
So my social media, you can just go to Facebook and Google my name, Otis D. Gore. You can also go to IG, which is Instagram, which is @Gore Otis D. And then I also have a LinkedIn account as well. I'm like you said, there's not a lot of Otis.
Awesome.
You Google or you search Otis D. Gore, my name will come up.
Okay, right. Okay.
Like,
the reason I asked is I added to the show notes. So, anybody that's listening and maybe, didn't catch it, it will be the show notes. I'll link out to your book, link out to your website, and link out to your social media handles as well. And of course, I'll follow you. You sound like you have some good information. I'm always going to call you a coach because that's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I've actually got it's not an official coaching business, but because I up coach so many people like the Asian stuff. So, and I don't charge them, which is there. But I'm implementing a coaching business as well.
Coaching business itself.
Going to do a lot. Yeah, because I think that I can help a lot of. There's a lot of people. And when I'm speaking at a school, middle school next week on the 19th, and I realized every time when I talk to the youth, they look you in the eye like they want the guidance, like they need to hear certain things.
Yes.
And and they look at you and they shake their head because I don't know if many people are telling them what they need to hear. Because a lot of people are being told what they want to hear. No, you got to tell them what they need to hear, good or bad.
And I like what you say that, get the book and this message into the younger, population, the millennials and or the Gen Zs, because at this point in time, they're impressionable, right?
Very impressionable.
They're impressionable. But it's also good for the older folks because if you've been thinking about doing something for a long time and don't do it, then you get a lot of self-doubt. You get low self-esteem. You don't believe that you can do it. So it works for everybody. So yes, this is good information because
it's a very good point that you brought up, because people don't understand that Colonel Sanders, Kentucky Chicken, didn't start Kentucky Chicken until he was like late 50s, early 60s.
Yes.
And I didn't even know that. And that's crazy.
Yeah.
But he believed in his product.
Yes.
It's never too late.
It's never too late. So yeah.
Unless you no longer physical, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. So awesome. Well, Otis D. Gore, I enjoyed my conversation with you today. It was a perfect conversation because yes, and there's the book, The Audacity of Doubt.
Just everything on the front. Just the suit looked like it cost a lot, but it was only $5. No problem.
Really? Oh,
wow. No, my cousin asked me that because he saw the book cover. He was like, "Oh, cuz that suit looked like it cost you $5,000." I said, "You mean $8?"
It does. Yes, that's I did. So let's put it that way. Yes, so awesome. Well, listen, guys. I enjoyed bringing you this author today on Author's Corner. Go ahead and pick up a copy of his book. Like he said, it's available on Amazon, on his website. But yeah, I mean, it's a guide how you can break through your limiting beliefs and push through, because we all have it. We all doubt ourselves. But if we've got, a strategy to push through, then you will climb that ladder, right? You stay where, and I love his 3 definitions of fear. I always talked about fear as false evidence appearing real. I was interviewing someone a couple months back from AA, and they had the second one. I don't remember what it is now.
So false resistance appearing real. Forget everything and run.
Right, exactly.
Everything and rise.
Right. And so AA had the second one, forget everything and run. And I've not heard the third one, face everything and rise. So, but some people are always operating in one of those, but it's false. Yeah. That's why I like the first one, because it's false. It's
still false
evidence appearing real. To me, that's the best one. So when you have self-doubt, it's false evidence, right? So you need to push through it and find the belief and get the mindset that, you can do it. You've got to believe and you've got to know. So
yeah, there's a lot of us that believe that even when the opportunity comes, because that's all everybody really wants. They want an opportunity. You just got to be best prepared at the time for the opportunity. And most of the time, you're not going to be prepared for the opportunity. But if you get it, you're going to have to get ready, in the midst of the process. So if you want to talk about, when I said face everything and rise, right? Rise, the word rise is basically seizing the moment, right? But I came up with an acronym for RISE. So RISE is R, risk. You got to take risks. I, ignite the action. After you're ready to risk and ignite, now you got to do the next thing, which is the S. You got to sacrifice. Because becoming successful takes a whole lot of sacrifice. So now you're ready to risk, ignite, sacrifice. Then once you got to do those 3 things, then you will elevate.
Elevate. Yeah.
And when you elevate, you rise.
For sure. Yes. You do that. In order to rise, you got to do something, right? You can't just stay scared and doubt yourself. You got to do something. So I love it. All right, Otis. So thanks again for being on the show. I enjoyed our conversation. Thank you guys for tuning in. Go pick up a copy of Otis' book, support him, and, give yourself some skills as well to rise. All right. So thanks again. Until next time, namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much.